Finally, to end the show today, talk a little bit about some breaking news. The Minnesota Timberwolves fired Ryan Saunders late last night. I remember getting my ESPN notification about this really, really late, close to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I was writing for the show today. And I was really surprised to see this. I think if there was any year in which coaches had leashes, it would be this year. And to that point, I was really surprised that the Timberwolves fired Ryan Saunders, and of course they ended up hiring Chris Finch early this morning. They aren't even going to have an interim head coach ride out the rest of the season, which, I mean, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this, because do I think Ryan Saunders was the best coach in the NBA? Clearly not. I mean, he was only like, 47 and 90, 45 and 97 as a head coach in his 2 or 3 seasons with the Timberwolves. It's not that he's a bad coach. It's not like he's a good coach either, but to hire somebody in a shortened season in which COVID is bringing players in and out. I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been absolutely ravaged by health and safety protocols this season. To also have one of your star players in D'Angelo Russell out with a knee surgery, I don't understand this firing. I don't also understand the hiring of Chris Finch the day after. You know, I can understand that you don't want to play a full season with an interim head coach under normal circumstances, but I don't realistically see why you think you're going to get better results by starting now with this head coach who's playing with the older head coach, with the previous head coach's staff, in a season in which players are always going to be interchangeable, whether out to COVID, whether out to health and safety protocol, regardless of that. I mean, Ryan Saunders only had both his stars in D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns on the floor like maybe 5 times. 5 games. That's it. I remember reading that in the article. 5 games is all that Ryan Saunders got with his 2 stars on the floor. This is why teams like Minnesota are perennially just wastelands for basketball. It's teams that you'll always find in the top 10. They're always going to be in the bottom third of the league. And this is why. I don't understand why they're making this decision. It makes no sense. It's not like there's going to be a long season ahead of the team in which an interim head coach would really just be filling that void until you find a coach with a new direction. There aren't really that many games left, especially with the All-Star break coming up, and it's not even really that much of a break. It's a shortened season. Players are going to be in and out, as I said, and the justification for firing Ryan Saunders in this season out of all seasons is, and in the middle of the season, no less, is confusing to me. These are the decisions these are the decisions that you point to when you say, why aren't bottom third teams of the Minnesota Timberwolves getting better? This is, some of the mind-boggling decisions that forced Jimmy Butler out of Minnesota. It's kind of the mind-boggling decisions that have made Karl Anthony Towns kind of stuck in Minnesota. I think Cat is one of those players that is going to fight their way out of their contract soon. I think he wants out of Minnesota eventually. And these type of decisions, changing head coaches in the middle of a pandemic-filled, inconsistent, injury-riddled season in which, sure, he's not the best coach in the NBA. He's not the worst coach in the NBA. But you can definitely say without a shadow of a doubt that the Minnesota Timberwolves' struggles through this season are not strictly on Ryan Saunders. Decisions to fire coaches like this are what keep franchises in the bottom third of the league. Consistency is everything in basketball. Anybody can tell you that. Consistency is so key. And even in a game when you have, your ups and downs, to have consistency, especially in a season like this, is almost miraculous. So the fact to say that, the Minnesota Timberwolves are having a bad season, they're being consistently bad, you really cannot blame that on Ryan Saunders. And I don't like the firing as much as I can understand that he's not the best coach in the NBA by far. I just don't understand the timing. I guess that's what it all comes down to, is I just don't understand the timing of this move. Maybe some of you who are listening to the podcast and are on YouTube have a better understanding of why a team would do this. I really enjoy basketball, but obviously it's not my main sport. I'm very knowledgeable, but still there are some things that maybe I don't quite understand. Maybe you can let me know as to maybe a piece that I'm missing in all this, because where I'm sitting, it's just like the timing makes no sense here. The timing makes absolute no sense, and to make the argument that, okay, you're getting an early start on hiring Chris Finch, who you want to be the next head coach, which, by the way, the general manager of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Chris Finch already had a previous relationship, so it really seems like a takeover or a coup more than anything else. The argument that they would be making as getting an early start with a new head coach with the foundation of, the core that they have, because they do have a pretty good core. Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell when healthy. Like, that's a pretty decent starting lineup right there for the Timberwolves. And to make the argument that you're getting an early start in implementing the new head coach's culture makes no sense. You have the old coach's coaching staff. You're still going to be running into the same problems that the old coach was having with COVID and health and safety protocols. And just to say that you don't want an interim head coach for the rest of the season to get an early head start, like, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense. The timing makes no sense no matter which way you cut the cookie. And this is exactly why teams like the Timberwolves are going to be in the bottom half of the league and have been in the bottom half of the league since, Kevin Garnett was traded to the Boston Celtics. They just aren't going to be good anytime soon, and decisions like these is absolutely the reason why. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say, now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.